Good morning, everyone. It's Jim from Amps, and in this episode, we're going to get the last hookup wire to and from the Alps pot PCB and the main PCB all wired up. And you might be interested to know what they are. So the pair here towards the middle of the board, these are taking the signal off of V3, the phase splitter, and bringing it into the Alps pot. And these three here towards the front, and these three here, this is the right channel, this is the left channel, are taking the output of the Alps pot and bringing it into the gain stages V1 and V2. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to be fairly easy because the wires are all exactly the same length on both sides, and I'll give you that length. And other than some minor variations in construction, they're pretty much identical. Okay, well, let's get to it. Okay, let's start by cutting all of our wire to length. So we're going to need 8 of the white wires, 2.5 inches, which is about 63 millimeters. And try to make them all pretty much the same. That way they're all going to lay exactly the same. So we need 8 of the white, and we're going to need 2 of the black. These are all the braid wires, and they're all exactly the same length. Okay, hop to it, everyone. Okay, so I've got my heat shrink all pre-cut. I do it by eye, but it's roughly 5/8 of an inch, or it's pretty close to 15 millimeters, maybe 14 millimeters. Anywhere close to that is fine. Just try to make them roughly the same length. Okay, let's get these wires made up. Okay, so we found with some fine-stranded wire that's already pre-tinned, like the double-jacketed braid that we really like for carrying signals around our various amps and preamps, that tinning it can sometimes be a bit of a bear. And some wire takes tinning just beautifully. The Canair hookup wire, all you have to do is touch it with a little bit of solder and boom, it wicks it right up. But we suspect that probably because of the pre-tinning that it's a little trickier. So Charles has developed an excellent method to improve your success rate.
So you're going to want to clamp the cable or wire horizontally like this. You can use a helping hand. You can use a literal helping hand if you've got somebody around, or something like a clothespin.
Yeah, with some weight on one end just to hold it in place. But a helping hand is just a wonderful thing to have on the bench. Mm-hmm. And they're not expensive.
So you're going to snip it to the normal length, a little longer than what you need, and then get a nice tight twist on those strands. There we go. And if you do any snipping after you've twisted it here, make sure you give it another twist afterwards to keep that end nice and tight.
Yeah, and make sure you haven't just eaten a bag of potato chips or something and your hands are all greasy. If they are, head off to the sink, give them a quick wash, and then you won't contaminate the wire.
So we're running a bit hotter than you normally would here. This is 400 degrees Celsius, roughly about 750 Fahrenheit. And we've got a nice clean tip on our iron, and I'm going to put a nice blob of solder on it. And the way this works is we want to come in on the end with the blob of solder and heat up the whole length of this bare exposed lead while we dab a little bit of solder in the middle until it starts getting picked up. And the trick here is to not add too much and let it wick through it. So let's come in. I'm going to hold it.
Now you might notice that Charles isn't using any extra flux. There's flux already in the solder, and not having to add flux is a good thing because we don't want to muck up our contact surface with extra flux.
Okay, you can see it's wicking in.
Ooh, cool.
And a little bit more, and
maybe a little bit at the tip, and we're done.
Just a touch there.
Now, why don't you show them what to do if it gets a little blobby?
Yeah, so we have a tiny blob here. It's actually probably small enough that it would be fine, but let me see if we can get that on there. You see that little bit of a blob?
Now, while it's still hot, you can lift that quite easily. Clean the tip of your iron so it's dry.
And then we're just going to come in and heat that and pull.
There.
And there we go. Off it comes. And there is a beautifully tinned wire end. So if it's still a little long, you can snip it to the length right here, and you're good to go.
But you wouldn't snip it until you got the heat shrink on. And you know,
Right.
You got your final length.
Yeah, you always want to leave a little bit of extra room for the shrink to come down and close off this bit.
Well, thanks for that, Charles. I think that's going to make everyone's life a lot easier. I know I certainly needed to improve my methodology as well.
Oh, and a quick note too. I was just doing this with Dad solder here, not my super duper extra multi-core stuff, but that does work as well using the exact same technique. So it should work with whatever you've got.
Okay, carry on, everyone. Okay, so after you strip them, because this is a double braid jacket, you will often end up with a little bit of leftover strands. So just carefully come in and clean those off with some small snips like that. Don't worry about little bits like that. The stragglers, we're going to come in later on with the heat shrink and just tighten all that up. I love this wire. We've used this wire for years and years, since the very beginning of, before the kit business, when I was building my own equipment. Much of it became the prototypes of the new kit business. So give the wire a little twist. We're going to want to tin it. So we want just a tiny little bit of shrink. I'm already one step ahead. Just a tiny little bit of flux. Now, when you're tinning just a small wire like this, you really need a fairly big tip. Sorry, pardon my reach. And you want to preload your iron. And don't work on a surface that can take a little bit of dirt, because some of the flux might roll off. You got to be very quick. You can't put a lot of heat on, or the wire will not take the tinning. So if you're not quite done, just go to the other end. And then you can come back and have a look and make sure that your wire is nice and tinned. It might need a little bit more. Now, if it's not taking, it's probably because you're too hot. So I'm going to turn down to 340 C, which is about 640 Fahrenheit. And there, it's going much, much better. And that's really all there is to it. Okay, well, there's a lot of this to do, so hop to it, everyone. Okay, so now that I've tinned both ends of the wire for one basic reason. It allows us to not worry about which way the wire goes in, because one end is going to be on a solder pad, in which we really didn't need to tin it or pre-tin it, though it can't hurt. And if we reverse them, then we would have a problem. So this way we're covered. So what you want to do with your shrink is you want to cover over that exposed end and still leave enough wire for a good electrical connection in the junction. So something like that will work just fine. So go ahead and shrink, and you're just going to shrink on one end, just one for now, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is we are using the heavier, you have got 2 gauges of the black braided stranded wire. We've got 22 gauge, which is going to be for the rear XLR jacks, and we've got a heavier 18 gauge. It's actually equivalent to 18.5, because a lot of wire is now drawn to metric standards. But anyways, let's call it 18 gauge. So we're going to use that heavier gauge for these connections, because this is going to be carrying all of the ground return path of a big chunk of the circuit. So it's important to have a heavier gauge on the ground return path. Okay, now before we solder on each of these leads onto the board, we can preload the shrink just like this, or if it actually slides over, then that's fine. So we don't even have to preload it. Will the blue slide over? It will. What about the black? Yeah, mostly it will. Okay, so we're good. We don't even have to preload the shrink. We can just put it aside. Okay, let's get this thing finished. Okay, so we know how this wire is going to go, right? It's going to come in through here and it's going to go up like that. So let's just get the Alps PCB off and set it aside somewhere carefully, because it's a very important piece of kit. And now we're going to very carefully put the correct wires on. So the white is going to go, and I'll show you them all on in a minute. So white's going to go on here, and just going to put a little bit of flux on the board, and we can get everybody basically ready to go. Okay. Now I'm going to show you, let's get that tip cleaned. I'm going to show you how to deal with this wire if it doesn't sit exactly where we want it to. So I'm just heating it up, I'm filling, and now I'm going to grab onto it while the solder is cooling. And if I wanted to make an adjustment, I could just come in here quickly and just heat it up a little bit. You don't want the outer sheath of the wire, the braid, to come right tight to where the soldering pad is, because we're going to go and stick a piece of shrink on just like that, and we're going to shrink that down. So let's get the rest of them on, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Okay, now it's probably smartest not to tin this one leg on the two black wires, because it'll just make it harder to fit. But if you made a mistake and you tin both ends, then just come in and just heat it up while you line everything up, and you should be able to just heat up that tinning that you put on there, and it'll just slide right on like that. But I think not tinning this one particular end will make life easier. This is why, and now it fell all the way down because I let go of it before it we can fix that though. Let me just heat that up and we'll bring it back up. When things go wrong, they go wrong. So, okay, now, so when you're doing that, just hold on to your wire until it actually, the solder finishes cooling off. There, that's the proper way of doing it. We always show the mistakes that we make as we assemble so that you can hopefully avoid repeating them. It's a lot harder filming and showing how to do something than it is to actually just do it. Okay, look at that. Okay, finally. Okay, so the last thing to do is to just grab all that shrink that you've pre-made and just drop it over and get it shrunk on the bottom here. And actually, you know, before we do the shrink, I think I would be inclined to flip this over. Bang. see, we got lots of stuff in the road. So let's just take a look here. And I think we can come in here and we can just really quickly, now you got to be careful because you could desolder the wires to the point where they just fall out. So you got to get on and get off quick, and just clean up the ones that need to be cleaned up. And Bob's your uncle. Okay, let's just finish up. Okay, so I just touched up the solder work. There really wasn't much to it. It's important because we've got these wires basically running on top of the circuit board. It's important to make sure that you clean up all these nubbins so that you don't have anything too spiky and too sharp. So anyways, get all these cut back and then we'll finish her up. Okay, so I've got all the shrink on and I've turned the board sideways. Both the left channel and the right channel wires are in the same sequence, so this should help. And of course this is the front of the board, or the front of the preamp, so this should help. White, blue, white, black, blue. Okay, well done everyone.